Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Well, welcome once again, everyone, to Kahului Hongwanji Buddhist Temple's online YouTube Sunday service. And today's service is for June 12th, 2022, and this is our regular family service. So we will begin our service today. We already have begun with the ringing of the Kansho, the temple bell, which calls us all to mindfulness, to listen to the Dharma. And now we will praise the Buddha's enlightenment and take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the teacher, the teaching, and the community that is built around that teaching, which really extends to all beings ultimately. And so that is the Vandana and Tisarana we will chant. After that, we will chant Gassho to Amida, and then recite the Golden Chain of Love. After that, I will share a Buddhist Dharma message with you, reflections on the Buddha's teaching. And then we will recite or chant the Metta, the loving kindness meditation, followed by the singing of the Nembutsu, and then some closing words. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. Let's put our hands together and recite the Nembutsu as we begin our service. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Bhutang saranang gacchami, dhammang saranang gacchami, sanghang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda. Namo Amida Butsu. I recite Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I Gassho to Amida, trees and grasses and flowers all grow in great compassion. This light shines throughout the world. I Gassho to Amida.
From the seed sprout new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I Gassho to Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I Gassho to Amida. When I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. I Gassho to Amida. When I'm lonely, I recite Namo Amida Butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I Gassho to Amida. Nembutsu in work and play, every day with Amida, every moment filled with light. I Gassho to Amida. Remember the golden chain, kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I Gassho to Amida. In the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night, I Gassho to Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I Gassho to Amida. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.
Golden Chain of Love. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Would you please join me in Gassho as we recite the Nembutsu before we reflect on the Dharma? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So today I want to talk about the idea of goodness. Adjust my stuff here. So I'm sure, in our Jodo Shinshu or Hongwanji experience, you've all heard the word bombu. And this is a word that Shinran Shonin used often. And it means a foolish person, a person who is very selfish. Essentially, it means a person who is of attachments, full of attachments, which is what the Buddha said causes suffering, and that's everyone. We're all suffering, we're all full of attachments. In other words, things outside of ourselves that we think will make us happy. And Shinran said that for us to know that we are bombu, the foolish person, is actually the most important thing. Knowing from our side, from our ability, level of ability, and so on, to know you are a foolish person, a person of attachments, is the most important thing, at least to begin with. We have to realize we're self-centered. That doesn't mean that we put ourselves down or we beat ourselves over the head because, I'm not perfect, that doesn't mean that. Knowing I am bombu means that I am seeing myself honestly, okay? And I'm accepting that I am that person, that foolish person. I don't have to be anything other than who I am, myself. I don't have to be the person other people tell me I should be. I just have to be myself, me. But seeing this person, me, is not easy. We like to see ourselves as wonderful and beautiful and heroic and lovely people. We don't want to see ourselves, a selfish person. I'm an ordinary person. I'm not good at it. I don't have ultimate talent, ultimate power. We want to think of ourselves also as attractive, good, young. That's why everybody always tries to stay young all the time, stay good looking, worried about, how they do their hair, how the color of their hair, all that kind of stuff, what clothes they're wearing. But when I realize I'm bombu, I can accept myself just as I am because Amida accepts me that way. So to accept myself is really Amida's acceptance of me. Me accepting myself is Amida accepting me. Amida's embrace, just as I am. So in Buddhism, you can say that we always need to be asking the most important question, though. Who am I? We think we're something, we think we're one thing, but we have to learn so that we can accept ourselves as we truly are. So one of the problems Shinran had in his lifetime was the problem of being good. Everybody says we have to be good, but it's hard to be truly good. It's much easier to think you're good than to truly be good. Actually, it's really hard to even know what good is. For most people, good is just what other people say it is, or what society says it is. For normal working of society, that can be a good guide, but a good guide can be a okay guide. But often people. But it has its problems, It really depends on the conditions and on what, because people think in terms of self-benefit. So individuals say, I am good. Groups of people, communities and so on, nations, ethnicities, and so on, often say, we are good. We are the good people. Other people who are different than us are not good. And actually, religious people often develop this attitude. Sometimes I think religious people could be the most susceptible to that attitude. We're the good ones, everybody else is damned, In Shinran's time, the poor people were considered to be not good by society, and also by many Buddhists, because most Buddhists were in the aristocracy, the upper classes. And so these well-off people thought that they were good since they were rich and powerful. This is the logic, okay? You know, and I think people still have this logic, even if they don't think it out necessarily this way in terms of karma. Back then they would say, you know, I'm wealthy, I'm powerful, I'm, you know, in the ruling class or whatever, I have time to study the Dharma. That must be because I have good karma. The karmic conditions, you know, have allowed this. Well, that's true. Karmic conditions, you know, are always let us be, give us the circumstances we live in. But it's wrong to say, you know, that because of the karmic conditions, I'm a good person, and the people who have difficult conditions are bad. They deserve what they have. But people think that way, and they still do. So, but true spiritual seekers like Shinran, they can never accept this kind of thinking. Shinran never said he was better or more good than anyone else. In fact, he's quite the opposite. He said, I'm the worst, the most foolish person. He could love and accept everyone and believe that they were all loved and accepted by Amida Buddha just as they are, just as they were. And you know why? Because he knew, he realized that he, Shinran, was Bombu, foolish person. The moment you look deeply inside yourself, you can no longer feel better than anyone else. So if I see that I am selfish and often unkind to other people, I feel sorry about it. If I realize that deeply, I'm a selfish person, how shameful. I feel sorry about that, and I no longer feel better than other people. And this helps me to have patience with other people too. Be tolerant, because after all, if I can't always do the right thing to other people, then why should I expect other people to always do the right thing to me? Shinran did not want us to do bad things, of course. He wasn't making an excuse that you can just excuse anything you do. Quite the contrary, he said some things shouldn't even be thought of, let alone done. That goes without saying. But he wanted to teach us that true goodness is not about being good as opposed to being bad, to being better or worse than others. What is really good in our life is life itself, the life we have, the life we are able to awaken to. Actually, goodness is this life we all share, this oneness of life that gives rise to all of us, boundless life. That's actually the meaning of the word Amida, the name Amida. Amida means boundless, measureless life, boundless, measureless compassion, measureless wisdom. That is what we are all part of. That is what we are all one with. So before I said that it's hard to be good, so this is I'm going to tell you a story that illustrates this, a kind of a parable story or something like that. So once there was a poor farmer, and he worked a small plot of land with his son. In those days, horses were considered a sign of great wealth, and the richest person in the province owned no more than 3 of them. One day, a wild horse came galloping through the village and jumped over this farmer's fence and began grazing on his land. According to the law of this place, this meant that the wild horse now rightfully belonged to him and his family. So his son was very happy about this, and he said, "Oh, Dad, Father, isn't this good? Isn't this a good thing?" The father, who had had many experiences in his life, said to his son, very patiently, he said, "Good? Maybe, but you know, it might also be bad." The next day, the wild horse jumped over the fence again and left their farm, and the son was very despondent. "Oh, Father," he said, "this is bad. We lost our horse. We're back to square one." Father said, "Well, maybe it's bad, but you know, it might also be good." The third day, the horse returned with a dozen more wild horses following him. The son could hardly believe their good luck. He could hardly contain himself. And he said, "Father, we're rich. We're rich. Isn't that good? Isn't that good?" The father said, predictably, he said, "Good, maybe, but it might also be bad." So on the 4th day, the son tried to ride one of the wild horses, and he was thrown off. He was injured with a broken leg. His father brought the doctor, and as the doctor was treating the broken leg, the son was crying and complaining about how bad things had turned out. The poor farmer comforted his son, and looking deeply into his eyes, he said to his son, he said, "Bad, maybe, but it might also be good." Now on the 5th day, the province became involved in a terrible war, and it needed many soldiers quickly. So the king made a law that all able-bodied young men had to serve for 20 years in the army. Anyone who had a broken leg, however, was not taken. Needless to say, the son was very happy. "Father," he said, "now isn't this good?" What do you think the father replied? "Good? Maybe, but it might also be bad." So this story shows that our idea of good and bad is often really just based on our self-centered judgments. We like things to be good. That is, we like them to be for our benefit. Did you notice that the son never thought about how anything that happened affected anyone else? The father had a Buddhist attitude because he understood that good and bad, depend on life's conditions, and those are always changing. So don't get too caught up in it. In Buddhist terms, he was saying, this is the way things are. I am grateful for the opportunity to live now, whatever the conditions. Certainly he would have given some thought to all the other sons who did have to go to war for 20 years. In Buddhism, it isn't really possible to celebrate one's own good fortune while others are suffering. So the son is saying, oh, isn't this good? I don't have to go to war. But others do, right? So don't get too excited about it. Don't get too happy. When we try to perform good deeds, the ambiguity of our actions become even more clear. All throughout the year, many people come to our columbarium, where we have the niches, the ashes, or nokotsudo as is called in Japanese, to bring flowers and plants in memory of departed family members. People do this at all the cemeteries as well. We normally think that this is a good thing. It's good to bring flowers to your loved ones in the cemetery. By bringing flowers, we are respecting our families and expressing appreciation for the wonderful life that they gave us. We're saying thank you. But there's another side to it as well. When you bring flowers, you become responsible for killing living things. Those flowers and plants that we bring were living things, Isn't that true? The end result is that we have to throw away lots and lots of flowers and plants here in the columbarium, or probably at cemeteries all the time. I'm sure they throw away tons of plant stuff. So then, can we say bringing flowers is not a good thing? Well, it is just like all good things. We want to do the right thing, the good thing. But we can never do pure good, only good. Every good thing we try to do involves some compromise, some not good, along with it. Did you ever have a situation in your life that involved only good choices, only better, and best, good, better, and best? No, there's always some trade-off, there's always some less than ideal aspect of everything we try to do. So, is that bad news? Is that bad? Is that not good? This reminds me of another story. An artist, he was speaking to the owner of the art gallery that was selling his paintings. And the art gallery owner told him, I have some good news and some bad news for you. Yes, it's one of those, good news and bad news. The artist said, oh, what's the good news? He wants to hear the good news first. The gallery owner said, the good news is that a man came in here today asking if the price of your paintings would go up after you die. When I told him that they certainly would, he bought every one of your paintings. He bought them all. The artist said, wow, that's great. That's terrific. That's wonderful news. So what's the bad news? The gallery owner told him, the bad news is that man was your doctor. So, good news or bad news depends on how we look at it. I once had a conversation with a temple member of mine who about the issue of bringing flower offerings. And we talked about the environmental impact of growing and transporting flowers from faraway countries where most of them are grown. Unfortunately, here in Maui, a lot of our flowers come from South America, Central America, places like that, and they're not grown here, even though this is the place where we grow the most beautiful flowers. But that's the way it is, and the impact of that is very, very great. So this member suggested to me, he said, why don't you tell people to just bring tins of food for the needy or make contributions to the temple or to charities, various charities, instead of bringing flowers, right? Yeah, that's really sounds like a great idea. I'd kind of like to be able to do that. Is that a better way of doing good, though? It is better in the sense that it would cause less harm, and that's very important in Buddhism, that we don't cause harm to life, and also reflects a deeper consciousness, a deeper thinking about the good of the offerings we bring. Sometimes I would receive, sometimes we'd have a funeral, not so much here, but in the big temple when I was in Honolulu, and the amount of flowers people would bring, it was staggering. These gigantic, like 6 feet across, big wreaths, full of hundreds and hundreds of flowers, and the cost must have been staggering. I mean, it could have fed several families for weeks on what all those flowers cost. Immediately at the end of the funeral, and I'm not exaggerating, at the end of the funeral, as people were filing out and going down to the social hall for refreshments, the maintenance man for the temple was hauling those flowers out and dumping them straight into the trash, because there was nothing you could do with them. They're all little short flowers, stems that couldn't be even used for the flower arrangements, and there were just so many of them, no place to store them. And I felt there was something kind of upsetting about that to me, and just so wasteful. But anyway, so the idea that, let's think about, I'm making an offering to respect and express appreciation to this loved one who has passed away. Why don't I bring food for the needy, or why don't I make a donation to a good cause, especially if it's a cause that person might have been interested in or cared about. Anyway, there's a lot of ways to think about it. And so we can say that is, it is in some ways a good thing, a better thing. But it's important not to take anything for granted, and to reflect on the questions, and question even the things that we think are good, like offering flowers, etc. Because our thinking needs to be concerned with connections, with our oneness with others, not just with what I should do, or this is a good thing that I am doing, but I'm doing this for the sake of others. To what degree is it good, or to what degree is it not good? So if I bring food for the poor instead of bringing flowers to the temple at funeral time or obon time, whatever time, am I doing good? Am I doing pure good? The bad news is my good is always going to be limited and relative. It's always going to be a little of good, a little of bad. If I save the plants and help the poor, for example, I'm going to bring offerings for the poor instead of bringing flowers. Well, in that case, then I'm hurting someone. I'm hurting the florists, right, who are losing all this business, so their livelihood depends on it. You can never have pure, and I'm sure if you think about it, you think of other possibilities as well. So, the bottom line is, it's not easy to be good. We can never do pure good. Always some kind of trade-off. So, when you and I discover, I am bamboo, this person is the foolish person, selfish person, always thinking of my own self-benefit, we are saying that we realize we cannot control everything, and that including our own actions, our own intentions, our own motivations, and that our goodness is never pure. It's always going to be a limited goodness. But if we think about Amida's infinite love and compassion, we can trust that just by doing my best, which is also not easy, just doing your best is not easy, our actions and intentions somehow express the Buddha's perfect good. You see, by doing our best, trusting Amida's love and compassion, our actions and intentions will somehow express the Buddha's perfect good, the Buddha's good. I cannot make the world perfect by means of my self-centered intentions and power. But when I discover that I am a foolish person, a bombu, I am sure to awaken to the perfection that is already here, all around me. That perfection is my true life, my true self. It is from that true life that goodness really comes. So thank you very much for listening to these reflections, and let's end our reflections right now by reciting the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. May my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my teachers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May strangers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my enemies be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. Thank you very much for joining us here today for Kahului Hongwanji Buddhist Temple's online YouTube Sunday service. I hope that this service and this video was meaningful to you, and that you are able to take something away with you which is helpful and gives you an opportunity to reflect deeply on your life. So thank you very much for being here today. Next week, I had previously announced that there would be a YouTube video for June 19th. However, causes and conditions have intervened, so there will not be a video for next week, nor will there be a video on the 26th because of the Buddhist Study Center's summer session, which will be here, a session here in Maui at Wailuku Hongwanji. So anyone in Maui is welcome to join, 9 a.m. at Wailuku Hongwanji. Our next YouTube video will be July 3rd, so we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together and recite the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.